We get answers from AI in seconds, right? Every single day. But have you ever actually stopped to wonder what's happening on the other side of that screen? I mean, how does it go from your simple question to this really complex, coherent answer? Well, today we're going to pull back that curtain and uncover the secret life of an AI response. Okay, so it all kicks off with a simple question. Let's say you're chatting with an AI. You type in, "Who won Wimbledon?" And boom, you get a quick, factual answer. Seems simple enough, right? But then, you do something that, honestly, would totally stump a basic search engine. You ask a follow-up question. But here's the thing, it's not really a full question at all. It's more like a fragment, you know? It completely depends on what you just talked about. You just type in 2025. Think about that. On its own, that phrase is basically meaningless. There's no subject, no verb. It's really just a single lonely clue. And this, right here, is where the magic happens. The AI doesn't see a nonsensical question. No, it puts on its trench coat and becomes a detective. It actually remembers your first question, and it instantly gets that this new little fragment, well, that's just the next clue in the case it's trying to solve. So that kicks off the first phase of our investigation, figuring out what you actually mean. This is all about understanding your intent. Okay, so job number one for our detective is to fuse the context. It takes the old clue, who won Wimbledon, and it smashes it together with a new one in 2025 to build what it thinks is the real question you're asking. See, it's not just hearing words, it's piecing together a conversation. But a good detective is thorough, right? So it also checks the time. The system knows today's date. And since the 2025 Wimbledon tournament has already happened in our little scenario here, it classifies the task. It realizes, this is a search for a fact, not a prediction about the future. That's a crucial distinction. All right, so our detective has the full question locked down. But here's the next problem. Human language is, well, it's messy. For this all to work, the AI has to translate our words into a language a machine can actually process. It's time to crack the linguistic code. So check this out. The AI doesn't read whole words the way we do. Instead, it breaks our question down into these smaller, meaningful chunks called tokens. So a word like Wimbledon might get split into Wimble and Don. Then each one of these tiny pieces gets its own unique number, its own ID. This whole process, this breaking down and numbering, has a name. It's called tokenization. And honestly, it's the absolute foundational step for a computer to make any sense of our language. It's how you turn our messy, nuanced sentences into a structured, numerical format that a machine can finally get its head around. But these numbers, they aren't just simple labels. It's way cooler than that. Each number is then transformed into something called a vector, which is basically a super rich mathematical description of that token's meaning. You can almost think of it like coordinates on a giant map, but instead of a map of the world, it's a map of meaning. This is what places one near victory and Wimbledon close to tennis and tournament. It's how the AI understands relationships between words. Okay, the question is translated. Our detective is ready to hit the digital streets. It's time to gather evidence, which means searching through just an unbelievable sea of data. But as you can imagine, not all data is created equal. The AI is smart about this. It's looking for good, reliable evidence. So it's going to prioritize stuff from trusted sources, think official websites, major news networks. And it's looking for bits and pieces that directly answer the question, not just some random article that happens to mention Wimbledon. And I really want you to grasp the scale of this search. We're talking about retrieving a massive set of candidate documents and data snippets, all in a matter of seconds. It's like walking into the world's biggest library and having an assistant pull thousands of relevant books off the shelf instantly, all pointing you to the right page. Next up, our detective has to do a bit of housekeeping. It has to clean up the evidence. There's a technical term for this. It's called normalization, but it's really just common sense. It's about making sure that, say, Jay Sinner from one source and Yannick Sinner from another are understood to be the exact same person. It sounds simple, but this step is absolutely critical to avoid a ton of confusion. All right, the evidence is gathered, it's been cleaned up. Now our detective is ready for the big moment. It's time to pin everything to that virtual corkboard and start connecting the dots. This is the synthesis phase. This is where a real answer finally starts to take shape. And this is where the power of cross-verification really shines. The AI is looking at its evidence board and it sees the same facts, the same winners, popping up again and again across multiple trusted sources. It's just like a detective interviewing several reliable witnesses and hearing the exact same story. With every match, its confidence just skyrockets. This whole process generates a number, an internal confidence score. In this case, it's super high. This means the AI isn't just guessing. It has cold, hard statistical proof that the information it's found is solid. So, once it's super confident in the facts, the AI's core model starts to actually craft the answer. And notice, it doesn't just dump a bunch of raw data on you. It reasons about it. It figures, hey, a complete answer to who won Wimbledon probably needs both the men's and women's winners. It's building a coherent story that will actually satisfy what you asked. And here we are, the final stage. The detective's case is solved, and now it's time to write up the final report. This is where all that incredibly complex internal work gets polished up and assembled into the clean, simple answer that you see on your screen. Just look at this transformation. It's pretty amazing. On the left, you've got the raw evidence. It's just a jumble of verified keywords and names. But on the right, that's the final report. The AI intelligently formats everything. It uses bolding, it creates clear paragraphs. It turns that chaotic mess of data into a readable and, most importantly, useful answer. And if there's one thing to take away from all of this, it's this. The detective's work is always grounded in its sources. The AI isn't just making stuff up or hallucinating, as you might hear. A well-designed system builds its answer from the evidence it found. That means the final answer is attributable. You can trace it right back to the data it retrieved. So there you have it. The AI is a brilliant detective of facts, piecing together clues to give you an answer. But that does leave us with a pretty fascinating question, doesn't it? This whole process works beautifully when the facts are clear and everyone agrees. But what happens when the facts themselves are in dispute? What happens when the detective's trusted sources all start telling different stories? Well, that's a much tougher case to crack, and maybe one for another time.